Hey guys. So for today's lesson, we actually get started on commas. There are 13 rules for commas. We will go over all 13. However, today you're only going to go over rules 1 and 2. Before we get to that part, though, if you look on Planbook, it says your journal, and then it says send to me via chat on Teams. Make sure you are doing this. These are for points. You get points for each of these journals. So this one, you should probably respond in 2 to 3 sentences, but it's a pretty simple question. It says, why are commas important in your reading and writing? Make sure you consider all different aspects of commas, how you use them, what happens if you don't use them, that type of thing. So once you send that to me through chat, I will tell you thank you just to acknowledge that I received it. And then after I read it, I'll make sure to get your points put into Parent Connect for that assignment. Your comma rules today are comma rules 1 and 2. If you go to Planbook, there will be a link right here for commas PowerPoint. I want you to go ahead and open that link, and it will look like this. Okay. So rule one is all about using commas when you're using commas with a coordinating conjunction. So if you have two short sentences that are considered independent clauses, so they can stand on their own, they don't necessarily need to be put together and they don't rely on each other to complete a sentence, that's when you would use a coordinating conjunction to link them. So for instance, I wrote on the board. And then my next sentence would be, I erased the board. Okay, so if I want to put I wrote on the board and I erased the board together, I would have to use a coordinating conjunction to make them one sentence. So it would be I wrote on the board, comma, and I erased the board. This is what is considered rule 1. Okay, so you're going to use a comma before any coordinating conjunction that links two independent clauses. And your coordinating conjunctions, you guys usually refer to them as fanboys, but they are and, but, for, or, nor, so, and yet. So the example on this PowerPoint is I went running, comma, and I saw a duck. You could have I went running, period, I saw a duck, period. But to conjoin them together, you have to use that conjunction and the comma. The comma is very important. Just keep in mind that if you took out the second subject, so the second I, so this I right here, and it just said I went running and saw a duck. Okay, so I went running and saw a duck. That would not require a comma anymore. But when you keep the subject of both independent clauses and conjoin them using a coordinating conjunction and a comma, and you keep both subjects, you have to have that comma. So that's rule 1. Rule 2. Okay, it says use a comma after a dependent clause starts the sentence. So a dependent clause is kind of like a partial sentence, and it relies on another sentence to make sense. It cannot stand alone like an independent clause can. So the example it gives you is, when I went running, comma, I saw a duck. When I went running cannot be a sentence on its own. There has to be something added to it. So when I went running, comma, I saw a duck. That dependent clause has to have the independent clause following it. The one thing that you need to make sure you realize, though, is if you reverse these to say, I saw a duck when I went running, that would not need a comma. So if a dependent clause comes before the independent clause, there's always a comma. If the independent clause comes before the dependent clause, that comma is not always a requirement. Okay? So I want you to look over those rules first today. Then if you go back to Planbook, okay, it gives you just some different funny, bad examples of when people used commas incorrectly or didn't or lacked the use of commas. So the first one is goat's cheese salad ingredients. So goat's cheese is a type of cheese. Okay, they go together. It's not two separate things. So it says goat's cheese salad ingredients: lettuce, tomato, goat's, cheese. So it has goats and cheese, not together. So that was a mistake. They added a comma when they shouldn't have. Then you have slow dog crossing. It should be slow, comma, dog crossing. Not speed-wise saying the dog is slow and this is where they cross. The next one is highlights of his global tour include encounters with Nelson Mandela, an 800-year-old demigod and a stamp collector. Nelson Mandela is not 800 years old, nor is he a demigod, or I guess he could be a stamp collector. But the 800-year-old demigod part is definitely incorrect. There should be a comma there as well. I like cooking my family and my pets. So definitely need some commas in this one, because as of now, it looks like you enjoy cooking your parents, your siblings, any of your family members, and you enjoy cooking your pets. So there should be a comma after cooking, family, and family. The next one is, please no smoking food and beverages allowed in the clinic. I mean, this one's pretty self-explanatory. First of all, smoking food isn't a thing, so you definitely say, please no smoking, comma, food, comma, and beverages allowed in the clinic. The next one, hunters, please use caution when hunting pedestrians using walking trails. You are not hunting pedestrians on the walking trails. So this one needs a comma right after hunting. So that says, hunters, please use caution when hunting, comma, pedestrians using walking trails. Then you have, we're going to learn to copy and paste children. This is supposed to be addressing the children. However, it sounds like you're copying and pasting, kind of like a cloning type situation of the children. So you need to have a comma right here after paste. The next one is, let's eat, Grandpa, or let's eat, Grandpa. You shouldn't be eating your grandpa. So it should be, let's eat, Grandpa, meaning the comma is after eat and you're addressing your grandpa and telling him it's time to eat. The final one is, chickens, keep dogs on leash. This is actually should be a warning sign saying chickens, period or comma, and then keep your dogs on the leash, basically so the dogs don't attack the chickens. Once you're done with that, you're going to open up this worksheet that is on Teams. Okay, it's Comma Rule 1 and 2 worksheet. I'll open it up here. There's two little things I want you to make sure that you note are incorrect on this worksheet. So the first thing is, the coordinating conjunction side is completely correct, but on this one, I want you to change this right here to be an independent clause. And then you also need to add when the man next door becomes a lawyer. So up here, okay, you're using your comma you're using your coordinating conjunctions to combine two like sentences, two independent clauses. So I don't want to argue with you, comma, but I don't want to give in. Okay, that's what you're going to do. Make sure you're rewriting all of these sentences. Then on this one, so you're going to make sure you add an independent clause to your dependent clause. So when the man next door becomes a lawyer, comma, I will ask him for advice, period. Okay, again, you need to rewrite all of these. I believe there are 20 total. Rewrite all of them, and when you'll turn them into teams. That's the end of your assignments for today. Tomorrow, we will be back in the textbook to read Anne Frank, so make sure you're keeping up with that, and make sure you're also checking Plan Book. There are multiple things on there that are not on Teams that you still need to be doing. I know the other day, one of which was send me a message through chat, journaling another day's journal, and I did not receive that from some of you, so please make sure you are doing that. Otherwise, have a good day, and we'll see you soon.